You ever have that feeling? The one where the career path you're on, the one that looks perfect on paper, just feels off? Well, today we're going to dive into that very specific and honestly pretty common feeling of misalignment.
I mean, does this question just hit a little too close to home? You did everything you were supposed to do, right? You checked all the boxes, maybe you even climbed the ladder a bit, and you landed that good job. And yet, there's this deep down boredom, a restlessness you just can't seem to shake. It's such a strange paradox, isn't it? On the surface, everything is totally fine. You might even be really successful by anyone else's standards. But underneath it all, there's this little whisper telling you something just isn't right. And look, it's not about being ungrateful. It's about feeling fundamentally out of sync. So what is really going on here? Okay, so how do we start to untangle this feeling? The first step is to look for the signs, and I want you to think of them not as flaws, but more like clues. Clues that are pointing toward a very different way of thinking. Do any of these sound familiar? You're sitting in a meeting, and while everyone else is just focused on getting the task done, your brain is already redesigning the entire workflow. Or maybe you hear someone say, well, that's just how we do things here, and you feel this almost physical resistance. This isn't just about being a perfectionist. It's about seeing a system and instinctively, immediately wanting to make it better. So, here's the real question we have to ask. Are these just a bunch of random personality quirks you have? Or are they all pointing to something much deeper? A kind of underlying psychological profile that explains exactly why that standard career path feels so suffocating? The answer is they are not random at all. They all point to a very specific profile. And that brings us to the absolute core idea of what we're talking about today. It's time to give this whole experience a name. This is it, the system improver. And look, this is so much more than a label. It's a whole different way of seeing the world. For you, the why behind something is always way more interesting than the what. You're not just content to follow a process. You're driven, almost compelled to understand it, take it apart, and then rebuild it. But better, you're the person who sees the cracks in the system that most people don't even know are there. And this right here is such a key shift in perspective. You're not a misfit. You're not difficult. It's more like you're a race car being asked to drive in stop-and-go city traffic. Your mind is literally built for speed, for optimization, for innovation, but most jobs out there are designed for maintenance and repetition. And that friction, that's the source of all that restlessness. So what does it actually feel like inside the mind of a system improver? Getting a handle on this cognitive framework is really the key to finding a career that finally feels right. This comparison just makes it all so clear, doesn't it? A system maintainer, and every organization needs them, they find value in stability, in doing things the right way. Their main question is, am I following the rules? But a system improver, that's you. You're asking, wait a minute, are these even the right rules to begin with? Your frustration with red tape and bureaucracy isn't a weakness. It's a direct result of a value system that puts efficiency way above just following procedure. And here's the reality of the situation. Some estimates say that 9 out of every 10 jobs in most big companies are designed for system maintainers. They need people to keep the ship sailing smoothly as is. But you're the one on deck constantly asking if we could redesign the sails to go faster and use less energy. So of course you feel out of place. It actually makes perfect sense. Okay, so if you're a system improver stuck in a system maintainer's world, what are you supposed to do? Well, this last part is all about turning that frustration into your most powerful tool. If you take away only one thing today, please let it be this. That feeling, that irritation, that boredom, that constant thought of this could be so much better, it is not a sign that you are feeling. It's a compass needle, and it is pointing you directly at the things you were put here to fix. So how do you actually put this into practice? Let's break it down. First, start seeing your frustration as pure data. Every single time you get annoyed or bored at work, that's a signal. It's a flashing light pointing you to a broken system you're uniquely wired to solve. Second, start seeking out problems, not just job titles. When you're looking for your next move, don't get distracted by a fancy title. Instead, look for a really juicy, complex problem that you can totally sink your teeth into. And finally, and this is the big one, embrace your nature. Just stop trying to cram yourself into a box that was never built for you. Give yourself permission to be the innovator, the optimizer, the system improver you actually are. It really all comes down to this powerful idea. Your greatest frustration points to your greatest contribution. The very thing that makes you feel so out of place in a typical career is actually your superpower. It's the engine for all your best ideas. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What if, instead of asking, how can I fit in, you started asking yourself, what broken system am I meant to fix?